Good evening and welcome, everyone. Today is, what is today? January 29th. I have
Yeah,
to
it
look at
is.
one of my three screens. January 29th. This is the 15th podcast.
We made it to 15?
We're 15, yeah. Although you skipped a bunch lately, but
Hey. Not by choice.
all right, I'll give you that.
You
Not
didn't
by
want
choice.
me.
But yes, 15th podcast, and today we're talking League of Legends. So we want to make sure everyone's here. If you're here for League of Legends, we're going to over the rules. Invite your friends, invite your team, tell your coach, get in here. We're going to go through them. We're going to try and go as quick as possible, cover as much as we can. I don't think we have too many changes to go over from last year. So if you participated last year, then there won't be too much. New to go over, but we want to at least go over some of the new stuff and reiterate some of the stuff we had problems with last year. With me
Yeah.
again, as our regular guest, is Mr. Keith Kennedy from Glenwood High School.
Did you have to take a second to remember the school?
I was looking at something else and I was like, Glen Ellen, Glen, what school is it again?
Not Glenbard. I had a lot of confusion with that early.
Yes, I do remember that. I was like, wait, aren't you Glenbard? Because we had kids from them join right at the same time.
Yeah.
No, wrong one.
So let's get into it.
Yep.
So for the League of Legends season, myself and Todd here will be running it. Todd is the guy to add if you're angry. And then I'm the guy who's probably doing a lot of the streaming stuff along with Andy Mendez, which is Chillren on the Discord. But I'll be doing a lot of streaming stuff, and I can handle most admin disputes and issues like that, and other things that I don't have a title for yet because nobody tells me what to do.
Yeah. So I will be the main contact for it, but then Kennedy will be helping out, and then every other of the admins, Whitlock and everyone else will be helping out when they need to be. But League is my baby, so I started. This is our fourth season, third officially, but I did run a smaller tournament right before we became state organized. Ran for Chicago. So this is my fourth one. Everyone we've done a LAN event for, which has been great. No announcements on that yet, besides the date, which we'll go over. Uh, but really looking forward to the season. Right now, I just looked it up. We have almost 60 teams total. We have about 30 varsity teams, and we have almost 30 JV teams currently at this moment. So I'm really excited for the season. I mean, I was hoping to get more than 30 varsity teams, but I think we still have quite a few that are not in here that have teams and they just haven't signed up yet. So I'm hoping to get closer to 40, and we'll go over what everything will look like through this document. So without further ado, you get that awesome overlay I have set up for my main monitor. Look at that. Look at that beauty.
It's like we know what we're doing.
No, it's not that at all. It's because my students are still working on it. Like, he was literally working on it in class today because we're in finals week. And he just hadn't
Wait,
gotten
you're
done
in
yet.
finals week in almost February?
Yes.
What is wrong with Chicago?
We were talking earlier, you know.
I know. So getting through it. So we're gonna start on February 9th, and the first match must be done by February 13th. Basically, we're gonna do all our matches are on all our matches are gonna be on Thursdays. We have not quite a hard. We'll get to the times later. Not quite a hard time for there. We'll get to that later. So first, we're gonna group them geographically. I just went through today and sorted all schools and of the ones we've entered so far by distance from our old land location, Robert Morris, Chicago. Hold on for me there again. We're still figuring that out. But just distance from an easy location find. And man, props to you, Massachusetts County, for still being part of Illinois at 362 miles from Chicago.
Yeah, they definitely are a trek from there.
You are literally almost Kentucky.
Yeah, they are ridiculously far. So anytime they travel anywhere, it's a haul. It's a haul.
So what we're doing here is, I saw that question in chat. So we are actually, we are not going through play versus this is still us. We are not charging for the season though. We're not charging for League of Legends in particular. Todd can explain more about that if he so chooses, but we're not playing. We're not paying for that particular.
Yeah, Play versus only owns part of a license for them. There's also NASEF, which we're working on to partnership with them as well, who owns part of a license to compete for League of Legends as well. Hopefully that license that partnership will be good by the end of the year. And that's part of the reason why we're not charging as well for free, because we want to make sure everyone plays, and we don't want to step on any toes, and we don't want to stop what we're doing, because of everything's going on with Play versus League of Legends and all that. So we're not going through that. We are our own entity, and we want to run separately because we offer a different experience for the kids than Play versus or even NASF.
So we're trying to run that separately. So we're going to do Thursdays. It's going to be a 7 to 8 week season, a Swiss style season, which those of you who don't know Swiss system, I can show you an example. But essentially, you're playing people near your record.
Yeah. Yeah, next thing with Swiss, especially, it's not going to be like last year. Last year we ran into issues because we didn't have enough teams. This year we're not doing 3 regions. Had we had like 40 or 50 teams, I would have split it into 4 regions just to keep it even for playoffs, because with the whole tiebreaker issues we had last year, not enough time to run them, and whole issues with that, with the play-in stage. We're just going to split it into 2 regions, and we'll get into how that works. But 2 regions and Swiss style. So as you fall lower, go higher, you'll play teams that are similarly ranked. And over the course of 8 weeks, towards the end, you'll be playing the teams with the best record. So with 20 teams in a region, there'll be several teams that will be 8-0.
And if you want more explanation on Swiss system, I'll be glad to talk to you guys individually. Yeah. So we're doing best of 2s, meaning, well, best of 2 is a misnomer. 2-game series. It's all 2-game series. So there'll be 2 games played on your match day. No games on certain days for, was that spring break?
There's 2 spring breaks. Yeah, I think I have like 75% of the school's spring break covered with those 2 weeks.
There are if your spring break falls outside of that, then that's kind of
yeah. I mean, I tried to balance it around as much as I could. There are some that are that week in between, but I can't do 3 weeks off, because that would be 3 weeks in a row that we wouldn't have games, and that would push our season into almost June at that point.
That'd be rough for us if we get out in before June. So we're doing a LAN event on May 2nd. Working on where still, figuring that out. But we're doing standings. We're using Challenge because it worked out really well with the Invitational, honestly, and it's really easy to use and not as clunky or as godforsaken as Battlefy is. So we're doing standings determined on overall points. The point system is 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss in terms of the series of 2 games. Wins versus tied opponents is your second thing, turns rankings, then games 1 versus tied, and then strength of schedule, which is what Battlefy uses if everything else is tied, to use strength of schedule. So playoffs, JV kind of is TBD depending on how many teams we have. And then varsity is top 16, grabbing the top 8 from each of the 2 groups, which once again, the groups we delineated based on distance from Chicago or distance to a certain location in Chicago, depending on how it's viewed. We're going to have ties happen by tiebreaker and challenge, meaning no tiebreaker games. That was one thing that happened in the Invitational that was kind of a hassle. So challenge, we know how it works now, and basically just trust that the way it's seeding it is fine. And with groups this large, tiebreakers that challenge can't sort out are very unlikely. It's only groups of 20?
Right, in those groups of 20, we're going to have plenty of variance between those 4 issues. And if you played against one of the other teams and you're tied, then that would obviously boost you, which was what we kind of had the issue with that group, where everyone lost against someone else and there was no other tiebreaker that we denoted, nor because they only played the 1 game, there was no other way to tell what it was. So,
which was a little bit annoying. So we're going to do that based on that. Varsity playoffs will be a best of 3 for playoffs, and then it'll be a 1-day LAN event for the top 8. So basically, it's going to be 1 round of online playoffs, and then top 8 go to LAN. JV, we may also do their finals there.
Yeah, we're not sure about that yet. Depends on where we go in the cost and whatnot. But we might do the JV finals there like we normally do, or we might host a different type event, kind of like what Overwatch is doing for their thing. So an all-star type thing. We'll see how that goes.
And one thing we have to stress every single time of playoffs, if your team makes the playoffs, you must first verify that you can attend the LAN event, which we announced at that point. Otherwise, you cannot play in the playoffs, because the issue we've had in the past is a team says, team goes to playoffs, team makes LAN, and then team goes, I can't play at the LAN, and they forfeit a spot. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So instead, you must, before you are allowed to play in playoffs, verify that you can, and if make it, you will attend the LAN event.
Correct. So yeah, so you will have to show proof. So that's why we kind of tell you the date up front. It is May 2nd. If that was to change, we'll let you know as soon as possible. If something falls through with our space, we'll let you know as soon as possible, so you can get that arranged. But schedule it off. Depending on where it's at, we might even want to make it more of a bigger event, have more schools there, more spectators, and invite colleges and everyone to come down. And league is usually our biggest one for college recruiters. So if you're interested in talking to colleges, I'm hoping to have quite a few there. In years past, we've had upward of 13 to 14 schools involved in recruiting there. So if depending where it is, we might be able to set up a pretty big group for that.
And just to know, this it's probably going to be near the Chicago area. So if anything, just plan around that.
Yeah, it definitely is gonna be around Chicago somewhere. It's my
making
baby,
me
so.
drive that far north.
Hey,
you didn't drive to me.
That is true. That is true.
So getting into rosters. So basically, every team needs to have a captain, JV, varsity, whatever. Not just a captain for the school. It's a captain for that particular team, varsity, JV, whatever, because they're the contact person for all this stuff.
Correct.
So there'll be a Discord for just captains.
Yep.
To communicate games as well as match results. Players. So we'll get to the match results in a minute. Players have to find their main account, and if it's found using an alt, they can't compete in the tournament. Also, you must not have a ban on your account. Or, sorry, active ban. I know some of you have chat ban problems. Look at you, Drew. So we can't really. You can't have that in your account. Just let's not have that problem, shall we?
Yeah, there's a big issue. We want people to play on their main accounts because in the actual professional and even collegiate, we want everyone to be able to scout. I mean, that's part of the game, is learning how to play around scouting. And a lot of times it doesn't really give you much advantage, but we want schools to be able to attempt to try and scout a team out. And we want you to be able to be recognized by the colleges. We don't want you playing on an alternate account or a Smurf account. Just to fool the other team so they don't know what you're playing. I mean, that's what custom games are for. That's what practice is. If you don't finish a game, then it doesn't pop in your history, or even custom games you can't even see anymore. So unless they catch it live, they wouldn't even know who you were playing for that. So it's kind of important that we want everyone to be on their main account, because we want to showcase you. We want to recognize you. We just don't want you playing on a separate account.
And then captain for a team has to be a player. So you a player captain. You can have coaches, but it has to be a player captain.
Right. So we don't want, the problem is coaches end up being captains for 3 teams, and now they're trying to coordinate 3 different schedules. And so they'll be the coaches will also be involved in the group, the chat, so they can respond if need be. But we also want to have a responsible young individual be in charge of their team. That's the idea, is giving you guys some take some ownership for the team.
And then every player who plays must have at least 20 champions that are eligible for draft mode. That means you'd probably at least level 20.
Yeah,
simple as that.
And if you don't, it's fairly easy to get. I believe there's like 10 or 15 or 10 at least that are already the lowest amount of blue essence. So they're usually pretty easy to get that 20 now compared to before.
You need to put in a roster, and after week 1, it's locked. We can't have teams saying, "Oh, this player's in, this player's out." No, you've had how many months in the school year to figure this out? You need to have your roster locked in.
Yep, and we're looking for rosters after week 1. They're locked in. We're looking for 8 total people on the roster, not 10 like it was before, because that got crazy trying to figure out who was JV and who was varsity. But we're looking for 5 starters and 3 substitutes maximum for League of Legends. And we are allowing this year JV players to be subs on varsity. So your 3 substitutes can be JV players. And again, those 3 can play on both teams, but only 1 per week. So if they go up to varsity, then you'll need a junior varsity sub to fill for that week.
And one thing to note is that this means you also can't change your name middle of the season. Has to say the same name. Players inappropriate names and all to play, and of course we deem what's inappropriate or not. And you need to be not like kicked out of school, so you need to be academically eligible.
Yep,
We
academically
have
eligible, and it's also like not suspended from school. That's one
yeah,
of the rules for athletics. If you're suspended for any reason, then you cannot participate in activities as well. That's kind of standard.
and yes, while we have no way to really enforce eligibility on our end, we expect coaches to be responsible.
Yep.
So only one varsity team per school, any ranks really, but we suggest high silver to gold for varsity and silver below for JV. So JV is not either a stomp fest or issues like that with varsity. Um, we said 8 player rosters. So here's the thing with subs. We had this confusion with Rocket League. If so for say you have your 5 varsity players and that's it. You have no one else in varsity because that's how it should be, and then you have 3 JV guys you list as subs for varsity. That does not classify those 3 as varsity. They're just JV guys who are subbing for varsity, so they can still play their JV matches. The only thing we're going to note here is that a varsity starter cannot go down and play in JV, but a JV guy can go up in needs of subs. That can happen.
Correct. So when you fill out your roster, and the link is down below here, when you fill out your roster, make sure you list them in the order. So that's first 5 will be your uh, the first 5 will be your starters designated.
And the whole goal here with this is that JV is a development environment. So you can opt out of varsity if you think you're not ready to compete. Like my guys are not ready to compete, so I'm putting them in JV. But you need to make sure it's a growth environment so your players are there for the right reasons. This is not a place to stack for wins.
Right. It's not right. It's not a place for stack for wins. It's not a place to really BM. A lot of these teams are going to be growing, and some of them literally have fresh accounts. So we're trying to make sure um, that the people playing there are actually just trying to get better, get more experience with the competitive scene. Uh, if you feel your team should be moved around, please let me know. I think there will be some good disparity in varsity as well. We don't have um, too many real big top teams. A lot of them graduated already and are gone. We do have a couple full diamond teams or close to full diamond teams or whatnot, but we don't have any. We don't have any like full masters teams like we did the past couple of years. So it should be really competition in varsity. I'm kind of looking forward to this year now that most of Jones is gone. Even though you have a stack team behind
Way
them.
to call them out. Thanks.
It's Jones. I mean, they've for the past 4 years, it's been nothing but Jones, and they're still on top, even though they've lost most of their people. So
So yeah, we have, and looking at the invitational, we had still like mostly we had a couple of diamond platinum teams. You have to be a student at the school in order to play for them. That's kind of how being in a school activity works. Uh, and then we have a survey that we're going to send out later. We have our roster form. Rosters are due February 6th. I'm going to, crap, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to darken that in because we need to make sure it's going to happen. Roster due February 6th. It's got to get done.
yep, yeah. So you have
Please note you're gonna need
just over a
you're
week.
gonna need your players' emails for those, so be careful of that.
Yeah, players' emails, real names, Discord. No, Discord's not on there just for the captain, I think.
Yeah. So that should be that. On to the actual match days. We are playing every game on Thursday, or every match starts at Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Rescheduling will follow the rules, same for Overwatch and NASIF for little things from NASIF.
Yeah, let me go over that just to make sure because a lot of people were asking already, and we already
Oh
had a
yeah,
couple teams
oh yeah.
drop out. So your games must be played on Thursdays. There's no exception to that. All the games have to be played on Thursdays. The normal time is 4:30, and we expect almost everyone to play at 4:30 on Thursdays. I don't know if I put it in here for the stream game, so I have to make a note to add that we should have a stream game. I believe that's going to be 7.
7 p.m. It's gonna start at 7 p.m. It's gonna be best of two. I'll probably be the one streaming it. I'll try to DM teams a week in advance.
And we might
So
even
that
have a form for that too if you want to sign up, just to make it easier. But it
oh
probably
yeah,
will
that'd
end up
probably be easy.
DMing people because that usually works better.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
our
so you
DM
can reschedule on Thursday to be at a different time. But if both teams don't agree, it's 4:30. So if your school, your team normally has something on Thursdays at 4:30, then this might not be the tournament for you. If something you have something a couple weeks set on Thursday at 4:30, that's fine. Maybe you can try to work around it. But if your team is not normally eligible for 4:30, then This might not work for you. I know NASEF is on Wednesdays. That might work better for people. But
Uh,
for us, it's 4:30.
Also, we have league at 4:30 because it's 2 games.
Yep. Yeah, and 4:30,
And
if the games are go 45 minutes like they normally do, plus the draft and everything, we're looking at the kids who are playing from school getting out around 6:30, which that is the big issue.
because Overwatch doesn't do hero bans there, bud.
Yeah. So I had to bump it up a little bit just because of that reason. So it does make it a little harder for kids to get out of school and get home in time and get warmed up. But it's just so we didn't have kids that were at school for 4 hours and then finally get to play and stay for another 2 hours, because then they'd be at school until 6:30, 7 o'clock, if possible. And a lot of schools that I know, like my school, they would not be able to stay that long. So whereas Overwatch, usually you're done within an hour unless it's a really back and forth match.
Yeah, and sometimes it's done within 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also for your reschedules, we don't want DMs to happen. We want that to happen in the scheduling channel. So if there are any discrepancies, that we can
can
handle
see it.
them
Yeah.
and bump in. If you say, "Oh, we agreed on this time," and it was in a DM, well, now you're sending screenshots, and they could be altered. They might not be altered. So let's just keep it all in the scheduling channel. That way, everyone can see everything. And if you have questions, it's just about adding that school, and it'll only just be for captains and coaches. So only those people will have access to that.
But it's essential that the captain you choose is Discord active.
Correct.
Like I know people tend to mute servers. If anything, you need to not mute the captain's channel.
Yep. Yeah. And then the other thing we want to make sure everyone does for game day stuff. So when you're in game in the lobby, you guys are responsible for checking the rosters. I will be linking a roster form to this because challenge we don't want to start with doing the rosters on there yet and have everyone register there yet like we did with Battlefield in the past. So there will be a roster form for you to check to make sure all of those people are active on the roster. That is your responsibility to check the opponents before each match. If there is a discrepancy where it's not a player and you have not contacted an admin, then both teams will actually forfeit that week. So make sure that you do check the opponent, make sure they are all correct. There are no people that are not on the rosters, because we did have a couple issues with that last year. We're like, oh, well, they're going to let this person play, and it's just not acceptable. And we'll talk about that when we get to the end.
Yeah. What else is next? Also, so we're playing on the live server because we have no other choice. So if a champ goes live with a new champ or reworks, so new champs or VGUs, they're banned the first week they release. I'm gonna put out things in the captain's chat when a champ's released and things like that.
Yeah, so if there's a rework and it's not a major rework, we'll make that call. But for the most part, for a general rule, they will be banned the first week. The second week, they're perfectly fine.
Because you can give people reasonable time to learn about the champions and adjust them, because not everyone has a PBE account or time to keep up with the PBE.
Yep, and yeah, and with patch day last year, we played on Wednesdays, which was patch day.
Which was hilarious.
It was kind of a crazy part where people were like, I don't know this champion, but I'm going to play it because I watched the PB. I played 50 games on PBE with them. I know exactly what to do, and it's not fair to some. So we'll give them 1 week to figure it out.
Yep. We're gonna, if we have any major rule changes pop up, we will make sure to note them. But make sure you guys are always using scheduling chats, the correct scheduling chat, and always ping the school name or the captain if you know them, just so we can get at the right people. If you need to reply to someone in particular, don't just put a message in that channel. Actually at them, please. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of messages going to random people we don't know who it's supposed to go to and when. The division of Northern into Southern right now is still in the progress. I did just look at it today, but we still have teams coming in and out, so we're not quite sure what that. And
yeah,
that was a question.
It ends up being somewhere in the western suburbs is where it is right now. So we'll see how to go, and we have to possibly make a few edits depending on that. But
quite a number of teams for JV as well.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out how we're gonna split that up too.
So we're using Challenge. We're working on that link right now. Once teams are there, we'll have it set up. Plan to arrive in a lobby 10 minutes before, so in case there's technical issues or things happen, like I spilled one player's drinks today when we're in a game, we have time for it. And then team with the higher seed creates the lobby and invites the captain. You can use Pro Draft. That's a note. So you can use Pro Draft. We encourage it because it seems to make drafting easier when everyone doesn't have League unlocked. And then in the actual lobby, team with higher seed gets the first side selection. Second game side selection goes to the other team. Teams should be in LCS order in the lobby. LCS order, for those of you who don't watch LCS, which you should, LCS is the NA competitive scene, and you need to go in the standard order in game of top, jungle, mid, ADC support. You need to be in LCS order. Your players can change positions between games, but you have to be in LCS order in draft.
Right.
I see you're pulling up Pro Draft. I see you're pulling up Pro Draft.
I was just checking to make sure that link still worked because I didn't know if they had changed. It was from last year.
Oh, yeah. So the way Pro Draft works, for those that don't know, is you do a full tournament draft in game, and then or in Pro Draft, and you can trade teams or trade players and all that stuff. And then once you've finished the Pro Draft, you go in and just do the bans and everything in order, and then start drafting in position order, so there's no trading that needs to happen.
Right. A lot of times that helps out with if the top laner has like 20 champions exactly, but the mid laner has all of them. He doesn't have to worry about not picking first because he doesn't have it. So if you need that for any reason, just let them know you guys want to use Pro Draft, and then the other team has to oblige. They can't say no, we're not using Pro Draft. If you ask for it, they have to.
And typical issue that we ran into with my guys is like my top laner had literally only top laners. He didn't have anyone else. So when we wanted to pick ADC first, we're like, well, yeah, well, sure, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that it just saves a lot of time in every game. The point system was announced earlier, but here it is. You get 2-0. If you go 2-0, you get 3 points. If you go 1-1, you get 1 point, and if you lose, you lose. Good standing. We mentioned that. Late rules. These are enforced by 4:30 unless you've previously scheduled a time. 10 minutes late, 1 game forfeit. 15 minutes late, you forfeit both games, series over, go home. We have to enforce those. And you can play a game with less than 5 players. I don't suggest it, but you can play it. Just to maybe get extra time for players to get there if they're missing or things like that.
That's usually why we do it. It's just in case in the first game your 5th player is almost there but not ready to go, then you guys can play 4v5 and possibly win. But at least
my guys did last year.
Yeah, that's true. But then also that way you guys can have a full team for the second game. To be fair, we want games to be played, but we can't hold kids hostage for a half an hour, 45 minutes. Because your other team has issues running late. That's why substitutes are very important.
And you're not doing any, like, you're holding them hostage and not doing anything because you're waiting for a player to get there. So play it out if you need to. Yep. Pauses, same as last year. Pause a player DCs or is having technical issues. So like one of my players last year was having an issue where his frame rate literally just dropped entirely and he was getting like 1,000 ping. So you type /pause. And /pause works for either team. You'll only receive 10 minutes of pause time per game, and it's up to you guys to keep track of those times because, well, we're not there. Yep. And once pause time runs out, you have to play.
Yep, exactly. So if you after your 10 minutes are up, then you have to play. If there's an issue with that, please contact us. Tango Charlie, how strict is enforced? Last year my team was going against was 12 minutes late and no penalty was enforced.
We're going to try to really stay on the top of this, but it requires you guys actually telling us, though.
Right. So if there's issues, and I think that's down at the very bottom where we talk about if there's any discrepancies or any issues, let us know as soon as possible at staff or at admin that are there so that they can get it resolved as quickly as possible. We do want games to be played. So if you're willing to wait, that's fine. But you're not required to wait. That's up to you and your coach and your team. But we really kind of want to hold it to this 10-minute and 15-minute late issue just because we don't want to hold people hostage, like we said, and just keep them sitting there waiting for the other team. I mean, if you guys are fine with staying, just let us know. Hey, the other team's running late. We're going to wait for them. That would be the best thing to do if you do want to wait those extra minutes just to make sure you play. But we also don't want you to be jerks about it and say, no, we're not, in any circumstances we can't. It's a give and take. We want people to play, but then we don't want all of the people not being cool about it.
You can handle that, Jet. But so results, same as last year. take a screenshot.
Not same as last year.
Well, okay.
Same as the Invitational.
Get, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, this year we're not using Battlefy, so it will not automatically record scores. So each team must take a screenshot of that end game victory screen um, after you guys win, and it has the stats and everything on it. We want that screen, and both teams should take it, just in case we need record of it. If the winning team doesn't, we'd like to be able to see that because custom games can't really be seen on client. Like we can't look up other people's custom games, so we want both teams to take it. Winners should be posting that in the scores channel. It should be LOL results. I don't know if it's created yet. I don't think so. And then just a caption of what the score was at the end. So posted 2 pictures, and then the Stamets won 2-0, Stamets lost 2-0, or whatever it might be. In the case of a tie, both teams should report to the score channel just so that we don't have any discrepancies with it. And that's also highly suggested you guys download the replays as soon as the games are over and save them on your computer. We want to make sure that you have them right away and not have to figure out how to do them. I know there's a video from last year, or I can make a new one that shows you how to download it. That way, if there's something that deals with being toxic in game, or if there's some issue with chat, we can look at the replay. And especially now, it's a little bit nicer that it's Thursdays. It should give us enough time to look at it before the next patch.
And one thing about replays is you got to get them in like as fast as possible because each new patch blows out all replays.
Yeah, so that's why download them right away. Even if you might think there's something like from the first game, and then the email is there to send it to us, so that we can see it. You could also just email it to the regular ihsea.org@gmail.com.
And you can prove a team is paused for over 10 minutes by looking at the pause time allowed in game. There's a timer in League. I haven't paused much recently.
It's 30 minutes total.
Yeah, so if it gets 20 minutes, then you can say, hey, they paused for 10 minutes to 20 minutes remaining. We need to play it out, and you can screenshot that and keep that. Or both teams actually be honest. That helps too.
Yeah. So I mean, if both teams pause, then it would be difficult, but normally that doesn't happen too often.
Okay, so when you send things, you have specific ways to actually note these in your emails. Streaming, we encourage you to stream, but I would suggest a delay if there's not a spectator on stream. If you're streaming a particular player's perspective, put a delay on the stream. However, if you're a spectator, League has a naturally built-in 3-minute delay. Solves that problem.
Yep. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you are streaming from your own point of view, definitely try to put a delay on there. If you do not, you are liable for any stream sniping that might happen. So just make sure that you do put that delay on. We're not going to handle any stream sniping if you didn't set the delay correctly. Obviously, with the 3-minute delay, there might be some stuff going on, but 3 minutes usually is way past the time when you can see something, possibly a ward that you might have missed, but it shouldn't be game breaking at that 3-minute point. And then for streaming,
what I've seen some schools do is stream the replay.
Yeah, that's what we possibly will do, some replays if they're sent in, if they're really good games. We might throw some records on depending on time.
I'm cool
now
with
that you know how to play old replays.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, so other things, please ensure that you guys are actually keeping track of replays and whatnot. Looking at MVPs, I have not talked to you about this, so take it away.
Yeah, no. So it kind of sparked me from what we talked about Overwatch with Coach Terp last week, that every game in that results channel, you'll actually vote for an opponent, and that you would say is MVP of their team. Even if you 2-0'd them, who do you think was the most valuable player? And at the end, we'll have results from each team and who they voted for, and we can tally them up for a possible All-Star event. We wanted to do one last year, but we couldn't nail down all the details in time. But I think with Overwatch, with the way they formatted it like this, and possibly doing something at the event to get more people to come to it, having this All-Star event during lunch break or something like that would be a really cool idea. Instead of having all the downtime, we'll at least have some people still playing.
Yeah, it sounds like a really awesome concept.
Yeah.
Yep. Prizes, we may do pricing. It's going to be depending on what we can actually figure out this year. Trophies, we're working on those. We're still working on the Rocket League ones as well.
Rocket League ones should be soonish. So sorry about that. But yeah, so each school will get trophies, And then other items and things are all dependent on how the season goes. With League not being charged this year, we have a lot less funds available. So we might be looking for some help with some sponsors or something to toss some stuff in. So we'll see how that goes as we get closer to the event.
If you're a sponsor watching in chat, hello.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Last year, there was pricing. It was provided by Robert Morris. They provided some bags as well as 5 respawn chairs to the winners. So those went over to Jones College Prep, which was the start of their esports arena. After that, I think they already now have, 5 or 6 computers set up. But that was getting those chairs kind of sparked the principal to start putting together something for them since they are so good.
Yeah.
And then Section 7 is what I was talking about earlier. So any any disputes or match issues, it's kind of important to tell us when there's any match issues, no matter what it is. So first consult the rules. If there's not a rule, that's why they're kind of numbered all weird. That way you can cite a specific line of a rule. It kind of makes it a little bit harder to read, but that you can look, show someone, oh, it's 4.12.2. And they can go and check that rule if that's something that might be the issue. But as soon as there's a problem, or as soon as you guys might think a rule will be broken, you need to contact a staff member and let us know. So if they're saying, oh, hey, we're going to wait an extra 5 minutes for them, please let us know. That way we are aware of it and don't, ask both teams. Or if you say, oh, well, they're just going to let their friend play on his Smurf account today because he needs the champion, you need to contact us as soon as possible. The rules are there to be upheld. We don't want anyone making their own gut decisions, whether they're coaches or players. If there's rules that need to be adjusted, we want to know so we can then adjust them correctly if there's issues that are missing. This is the 4th draft of these rules. And I think they kind of cover just about everything as we've gone over every year, adding a little bit more to be specific depending on what happens. But please contact us. And then lastly for that, code of conduct violations, which we'll get into. There will be a form. It will be uploaded. I have to do it. We had some issues at the Invitational with possible code of conduct violations, but we didn't have a system set up for it, and people were just posting stuff. And we'd rather there be a form for that for you to submit, so that you don't have to worry about other people seeing it or DMing on Discord and having it not being seen. You can submit it, and then we'll look at that and the proof and talk with the team accordingly. And then the code of conduct. This is actually the same one from Overwatch, which is actually used from NASEF. They actually have a pretty comprehensive code of conduct. And essentially, the TLDR is pretty self-explanatory. So if you don't want to read it all, you don't have to. But number one is be a good person to everyone participating. So that means coaches, sponsors, players, everyone involved in it. Just be a good person. That's just number one. That's what we want. Another big one that a lot of people don't know is no mastery or emote spam. The automatic emotes are perfectly fine, but no mastery spam or manual emotes are allowed. So if you want to disable those buttons, if you're one of those people that just has a reflex to hit that button, please disable it. No toxic behavior. That is self-explanatory. There are examples at the very bottom of this document that explain toxic behavior. So make sure if you're curious about what those might be. Obviously, no cheating, no using any bugs or
macros, as we just asked in chat. Also, if you have text chat macros for rather not nice things to say in chat, don't use them. If you have macros for specific combinations or inputs, don't use them. Emotes aren't necessarily banned as much as if they're used in excess. If it's done for the purpose of aggravating an opponent or it's used in excess. The automatic emotes that occur for First Blood, was it
First Blood, Ace, End of Game,
and then game start, those are fine because those are automatic. But if it's an emote after every single kill, which one of my players did before I made him unbind it, that's not good.
Yeah. So our suggestion is to just not use emote ever. Which goes right along with the other one is just don't use all chat. All chat should be just for captains or maybe a GG at the end of the game. All chat can get toxic depending on who's talking, and we want to keep it professional because we possibly could be streaming these games. We want people not to see chat if it's being toxic, if kids are being kids. It's better just to keep that to your own private discords and whatnot. Try not to use all chat and leave it for communication with the other team from the captains.
So just don't do it.
Yep. And then just always remember, you're representing your school, and we want to make sure that you take your actions accordingly, because your school can be held accountable for your actions because you are representing them. We've had a couple teams where kids have gotten kicked off teams because of their actions. We've had them banned from the IHSEA. We've even had to almost ask a school to drop out completely because of their actions. So we want to make sure you're aware that while you're playing in this league, you are representing your school, and think about how you are representing your school and how they will be seen, depending on what you do. I think that's it. I think the rest of it's mostly code of conduct stuff.
And you guys can read a whole code.
That.
And like everyone can read that on their own.
Yeah, I don't want to go through each one. That's why I did the TLDR, just because it is very long. But we wanted to make sure. And the whole reason behind the all chat and the mastery stuff is we want kids to have a good time whether they're losing or winning. And when you have someone you guys are up 20 kills and you're just killing them over and over again and spamming masteries,
or you're just fountain diving every single time you get and not ending the game.
Right. Like those things, we want them to have a good time even if they're losing. It's all about making esports fun. And, we want to make sure esports is fun for the winners, for the losers, because even the losers, we want them to grow. We don't want them to get so tilted because they lost and because you guys were so toxic that they just stopped playing completely. We want to be the league with the least forfeits due to teams dropping out. Like that's my goals, because with all the other leagues have so many teams drop out, we don't want to have anyone drop out because of their players not wanting to play anymore. So I think that wraps it up. I think we answered most of the questions.
Yeah.
If you had any more questions, feel free to reach out to us on Discord. I will be posting this on YouTube and emailing it to everyone, and posting it in the league channel for everyone to see. I'll see if I can get it done tonight. No guarantees, but it might be Friday because I have to get all my grades in. I still have one class left, and then I'm done.
And I think that's all we got for now.
Yeah. Thanks for checking us out. We will start streaming hopefully next week on Tuesday, possibly Monday, but more than likely Tuesday for Fortnite, Wednesday for Overwatch. Our season starts. Overwatch deadline has been extended, I believe, to Sunday. Did I read that correctly somewhere? I saw an all message in Overwatch from Terp. I believe he extended the rosters.
I don't know. I already had mine, so I kind of forgot.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, I think it's extended for rosters because they originally were due today or tomorrow. No, tomorrow, I think.
In chat, we're seeing, is there a way to check to make sure a team is fully registered? If you're concerned that your team is not fully registered, DM us. We'll check.
Yeah, you can just DM us or just ask in your school channel. Your school channel will be fine.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's easier to contact us, honestly, so admins can keep track of what's being answered, what isn't, is at us in your school channel. And in general, I'd like you to avoid DMing us individually. That's a very, very individual issue. Otherwise, try to just add us in your school channel. We'll get to it.
Yeah, definitely. Or add us in the school channel with the question, and then if we need to DM, we will. But that way, if you at staff in your school channel, then you would be able to get any of the staff. Or if you DM one person, like for me, I really can't answer anything on Discord or any emails for about 4 hours because I have like 3 hours straight of class and then sometimes practice right after. I just good 4 to 5 hours where I can't answer anything. So if you just DM me, you might not get an answer for quite a while. So just at staff in your school's channel. And then Fluffy, the main thing for registration, all the schools have been sent invoices for what teams are allowed in, and then they just got to fill out the rosters by next week.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Next week will kind of be a rehash of some league stuff, some talk with that, and then as well as some information for Fortnite or Overwatch if need be, clarifications. We'll just have possibly our first Overwatch stream end shortly after, so I don't know. Are you helping with Overwatch, you said, as well?
Yes.
Okay. So But possibly either next week or the week after, we'll start to have some special guests, some 3-person podcast. If you're still here, what is C Blonded? If you're still here, that's why I need the 3-person one is for next week. We've had several 3-person podcasts. It's just been 2 people the past couple weeks.
Because we're going over rules for specific games, and not all of us are doing all things.
Yep. But no, next week, either next week or the week after, depending on availability, we'll start to have some special guests. I'm hoping to have some big special guests depending on how their schedules work out. So look forward to that. Hopefully we can get some more people in here. I want to have this be as big as possible. You guys definitely did not show up as much as Rocket League. Rocket League probably was our best viewership for everything. So it's exciting. They were best for rules discussion. They were best for streaming. Like even though people were playing games, I think that's good. We'll see how League goes this year with the delayed stream. I think that will help though.
Yeah, I think delayed streams will help a lot.
Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Until next week, Keith, thank you for joining me and welcome back after your 2-week break. Yes. And until next week, guys. Everyone, just remember, just be better.